Everyone thinks I skipped my sister's wedding out of jealousy, but if they knew what really happened, they might understand why I couldn't walk into that church. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who ghosts their own sister's wedding. I've seen the judgmental Reddit posts, the clickbait YouTube videos, the comment sections tearing people apart. I used to think, wow, what kind of heartless person skips a sibling's wedding? Now I guess I'm one of them. Except, my story's a little more complicated. My name's Jess. I'm 28, live in Maryland, and until a few months ago, I don't know, the quiet one in the family. The one who didn't cause problems. Who stayed out of the way. My younger sister, Carly? Total opposite. Life of the party, center of attention, golden child. You know the type. Our relationship used to be decent when we were little. She'd follow me around, copy everything I did, laugh at my dumb jokes. But things changed around high school. Suddenly, it was like I stopped existing. Carly was cheer captain, homecoming queen, prom royalty, you name it. And I was the one behind the camera taking her photos. Literally. I was the photographer for the school yearbook. Our parents, especially my mom, never try to hide their preference. Carly just needs more support right now. She'd say every time I brought up feeling invisible. She's under so much pressure. Meanwhile, I was taking APs, working a part-time job, applying for scholarships, but no one ever asked how I was doing. It didn't help that Carly had a way of making everything about her. If I got sick, she'd be sicker. If I got a promotion, she'd get engaged. I'm not joking, that actually happened. Her fiancé's name is Trevor. Real estate guy, all teeth and charm. The kind of guy who calls you dude, even if you're a woman. From the beginning, I had a bad feeling about him. Something about the way he looked at women, like he was sizing them up. Anyway, Carly and Trevor got engaged last Christmas. Huge production. He proposed in front of the whole family during our annual holiday dinner. I was halfway through my mashed potatoes when Trevor got down on one knee and pulled out a ring the size of a Skittle. Everyone screamed. I clapped, smiled, said congratulations, then excused myself to the bathroom and cried for 20 minutes. Not because I was jealous, but because I knew what was coming. Months of "can you help with this? Can you plan that?" With zero acknowledgement of my own life. Sure enough, by New Year's, Carly had asked me to be her maid of honor. But not in a sweet, sisterly way. More like, it makes sense for you to do it. You don't really have much going on. I wish I was making that up. I agreed. Why? Honestly, I don't know. Habit, maybe. Fear of rocking the boat. Deep down hope that this time, Carly might treat me like I mattered. Spoiler, she didn't. The next 4 months were a nightmare of dress fittings, Pinterest boards, budget meltdowns, and Carly's constant micromanaging. She'd call me at 1 a.m. because the font on the invitations was emotionally wrong. She once made me redo 200 favors because the ribbon color was too dusty. And God forbid I brought up anything in my own life. She'd change the subject in 5 seconds flat. But the breaking point wasn't any of that. It was the bachelorette party. Originally, we were supposed to go to Nashville. Chill weekend, Airbnb, country bars, maybe some karaoke. I was in charge of organizing it, because of course I was. I booked everything, coordinated flights, made little gift bags for the girls. I even custom-ordered Bride Squad t-shirts. Then, 1 week before the trip, Carly calls me in tears. Nashville is so overdone, she says. Everyone's going there. I want something more exclusive. I just sat there, blinking at the phone. Carly, everything's booked. Non-refundable. Can't you move it? She whines. You're so good at logistics. And just like that, she changed the entire plan. Moved the bachelorette party to Miami without telling half the guests. Half the bridal party couldn't come. And when I told her it felt wrong to leave them out, she said, and I quote, "They weren't really bridesmaid material anyway." That's when I started seriously thinking about backing out. Not just of the maid of honor role, but the entire wedding. Still, I kept pushing through. Because I thought, maybe if I just make it to the wedding, it'll be over. One awful day, and then I can disappear. Then came the rehearsal dinner. My parents rented out a private room at this super fancy steakhouse in downtown DC. Everyone was dressed to the nines. Carly had this white sequin dress on, strutting around like she was already a celebrity. I showed up in a navy jumpsuit I was proud of, modest, stylish, something that made me feel confident. Carly took one look and said, "That's cute. But are you sure it's not too formal for someone who's, like, not the bride?" I laughed. She didn't. I was already holding back tears when Trevor stood up to give a toast. And that's when it happened. He raised his glass and said, "To Carly, the most beautiful, kind, and selfless person I know. And to her family, especially her amazing mom and sisters, who've done everything to make this wedding perfect." Everyone clapped. Except, I'm her only sister. He was talking about Maya, her best friend since kindergarten. The one who Carly made a bridesmaid, and who's been weirdly close to Trevor lately. I looked at Carly. She smiled. Didn't correct him. Didn't even glance at me. That was it. I stood up, quietly walked out, and left before dessert was served. No one followed me. Not even my mom. And the next morning, I sent a message to the wedding group chat. "I won't be attending the wedding. Please don't contact me further about it." The fallout was nuclear. The silence after I sent that message was the loudest thing I've ever heard. At first, no one replied. Not Carly. Not my mom. Not even one of the bridesmaids, most of whom I had spent the last 4 months organizing, coordinating, and basically hand-holding through all of Carly's chaos. It was just nothing. For about 10 minutes. Then my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. First it was my mom. She didn't even try to ease into it. "Jessica Lynn, what is the meaning of this? Your sister is devastated. You are acting like a child." Then came Carly's message, short and sharp. Wow, couldn't even talk to me first? Selfish much. Then Trevor, of all people, chimed in. "Real mature, Jess. Good luck finding someone who'll want to marry you if this is how you act during other people's weddings." I almost laughed. The audacity. The group chat exploded. A few people asked what happened. Others took sides. Maya, the honorary sister, replied with some sanctimonious quote about how some people only show their true colors when things don't go their way. I didn't even bother responding. Instead, I turned off my phone, curled up in bed, and let myself cry harder than I had in a long time. It wasn't just about the wedding. It was everything. Every moment of being pushed aside. Every time I had to swallow my feelings to keep the peace. Every holiday where Carly's boyfriend of the month got more attention than I did. Every time my accomplishments were met with polite nods while hers were celebrated with balloons and catered parties. And now, when I finally stood up for myself, I was the villain. I didn't hear from anyone the next day, or the next. I stayed home, binge-watched shows I barely registered, and tried to convince myself I'd done the right thing. But Sunday morning, my doorbell rang. It was my dad. Now, here's the thing about my dad. He's not a bad guy. He's just quiet, neutral, always trying to play both sides. Growing up, he was the ask-your-mom type. The guy who fixed things around the house and mowed the lawn, but never really got involved in family drama, unless he absolutely had to. So when I saw him standing on my porch, holding a takeout coffee and a paper bag of donuts, I knew it was serious. "I thought you might want breakfast," he said. I stepped aside and let him in. We sat on the couch, neither of us speaking for a while. He opened the bag and offered me a chocolate glazed. My favorite. I took it without saying thanks. Finally, he cleared his throat. "Your sister's really upset." I didn't say anything. Well, she thought you'd come around, even after you walked out." That stung more than I wanted to admit. I picked at the donut. Did she even notice I left? Or was she too busy soaking up attention from Maya and Trevor? My dad sighed. "Jess, I know Carly can be intense, but she loves you." I scoffed. "She loves having a doormat, not a sister." He looked genuinely pained. "That's not fair." "No," I said. "What's not fair is spending your whole life being second place in your own family. What's not fair is being treated like a personal assistant and then getting called selfish the second I draw a boundary." He was quiet again. Then he said something that surprised me. "You're right." I blinked. "What?" "You're right. We haven't always been fair to you. Your mother, she gets wrapped up in Carly's world." I should have said something years ago. That nearly broke me. It was the first time anyone in my family had acknowledged it. "But," he added, "this wedding, it's a big moment. And skipping it, it's not something Carly's going to forget. Or forgive easily." I looked him in the eye. Good. Because I'm not forgetting everything she's done, either. He didn't push me after that. We ate our donuts in silence. And when he left, he hugged me tighter than usual. Didn't say much. Just gave me that dad pat on the back that somehow said a lot without saying anything. The wedding happened the next weekend. I didn't go. I spent the day hiking in Shenandoah with my friend Lydia. We turned our phones off, packed a thermos of coffee, and watched the sunset from an overlook that felt like the edge of the world. It was peaceful. It was the first time I'd felt free in months. But that peace didn't last. Because when I got back into cell range, my phone was flooded with voicemails. From my mom, my aunt, even Carly. They were all variations of the same message. How could you? You embarrassed the family. You ruined Carly's big day. But the one that gutted me was the voicemail from my mom. Her voice was cold, angry. You've made your choice, Jessica. Don't expect this family to wait around for you to change your mind. That voicemail was the last thing I heard before my phone battery died. And when I turned it back on the next morning, I found out something even worse. They'd posted about me. I knew something was off the second I logged into Facebook the next morning. I don't use it much, mostly for old college friends and family updates. But my notifications were going crazy. Like dozens of them. I hadn't posted anything in weeks. The first thing I saw was a photo. Carly in her wedding dress, standing in the middle of a vineyard, veil blowing in the breeze, smiling like she hadn't just cut her sister out of her life a week earlier. Okay, fine. She looked beautiful. I'll give her that. But then I saw the caption. Surrounded by love, laughter, and the people who truly matter. Sometimes family isn't blood. It's the ones who show up for you when it counts. Oof. The comments were even worse. Maya, couldn't agree more. Some people are only there for the spotlight, not the journey. Cousin Janice, so sorry your sister didn't come through. Carly. But honestly, you looked happier without the drama. Mom, everything happens for a reason, sweet girl. The day was still perfect. You deserved every second of it. The passive aggressiveness was off the charts. No one said my name directly, but they didn't have to. I just sat there, staring at my phone, feeling like I'd been slapped in the face a dozen times in a row. What really got me wasn't that they were mad. I expected that. But that they were painting me as this villain, this selfish, attention-seeking monster who abandoned Carly on her big day. Not one person tried to understand why I did what I did. Not one message that said, "Hey, are you okay?" Just digital torches and pitchforks. I didn't respond. Not right away. But I screenshotted every post and every comment. Just in case. Lydia came over that afternoon with smoothies and a look on her face that said she'd seen it all too. You really broke the internet, she joked, trying to lighten the mood. I smiled weakly. I guess that makes me the villain in their story. Lydia sat beside me on the couch, folding her legs under her. You're not a villain, Jess. You're just the first person in that family to say enough. And they don't know how to deal with that. I wanted to believe her. But it's hard when your own mother basically disowns you over a voicemail. That night, I got a DM from someone unexpected, Kara, one of Carly's bridesmaids. We weren't super close, but we'd spent enough time planning the wedding together that we knew each other's coffee orders and favorite memes. She was one of the quieter ones in the group, not a drama starter. Her message said, "Hey, I know things are messy right now, but I just wanted to say, I get why you didn't come. Carly was kind of a nightmare to everyone. You're not the only one who felt used. I'm sorry you got dragged through the mud for it." I stared at that message for a long time. It was the first bit of validation I'd gotten since this whole thing exploded. I wrote back, "Thank you. That means more than you know." Then, impulsively, I added, "Was there anything weird at the wedding? Like with Carly and Trevor?" Kara replied almost instantly, "Girl, you have no idea. She didn't elaborate at first. Just told me to call her when I had time. So I did. And that phone call? It changed everything." According to Kara, there was tension during the entire wedding weekend. Like, actual tension. The kind you can feel in your bones. Carly was snapping at people left and right. Trevor showed up late to the rehearsal. Maya was acting like she was the actual bride, bossing the vendors around, giving a speech that made several people uncomfortable. But the kicker? There were rumors Trevor had been texting Maya. Late at night, Kara said she overheard one of the groomsmen confronting Trevor about it in the parking lot after the rehearsal dinner. Trevor laughed it off and said something like, "It's not what you think. Maya's just helping with the honeymoon plans." Except the honeymoon had already been planned. Publicly. On Instagram. Weeks ago. And then Kara said this. The day of the wedding, right before Carly walked down the aisle, Maya and Trevor were alone in the bridal suite. The door was closed. They were in there for almost 10 minutes. I felt my stomach drop. What were they doing? I asked, already fearing the answer. "No one knows," she said. But Carly went in after them. And when she came out, she looked like she'd been crying. Her makeup artist had to redo her face. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So now I was the one being iced out for ruining the wedding. While this was happening behind the scenes, what about Carly? I asked. Did she say anything? Kara hesitated. She pulled me aside during the reception. She was drunk. Said something about how she'd made a mistake. That Trevor wasn't who she thought he was. But then she laughed and said, "Too late now, right?" My blood ran cold. Too late. Had she gone through with it knowing something was off? Kara didn't have answers. Just a mess of rumors and observations. But one thing was clear. There was way more going on than anyone was letting on. And for the first time since walking away from the wedding, I didn't feel guilty. I felt vindicated. But that feeling didn't last long. Because the next day, I got a message from Carly herself. No pleasantries. No "Hi, how are you?" Just 5 words. "We need to talk. Now." Carly's message sat in my inbox like a lit fuse. I stared at it for a good 5 minutes, debating whether to even reply. The last time she messaged me directly, she'd called me selfish and accused me of ruining her wedding. Now, out of nowhere, she wanted to talk? I didn't know what her angle was, but I knew this wasn't just a friendly catch-up. Against my better judgment, I replied, "What do you want to talk about?" Her response came in seconds. "Face to face. I'll come to you. Tomorrow. 11 a.m. It wasn't a question. I debated saying no. Lydia told me not to even open the door. "She's trying to manipulate you," she said. "Carly doesn't do closure. She does control." She wasn't wrong. But part of me, I don't know. I wanted to see what Carly had to say. Maybe I wanted an apology. Or at least some confirmation that she knew she'd crossed a line. Maybe a tiny, twisted part of me wanted her to finally admit I wasn't crazy. So I said okay. And right at 11 a.m. the next morning, she showed up at my apartment. Designer bag slung over her shoulder, oversized sunglasses, fresh blowout like she just stepped off the set of a reality show. No knock. Just a firm buzz through the intercom. "It's me." I opened the door. For a second, we just stood there. Neither of us said anything. Then she stepped inside and took off her glasses. Her eyes were puffy. Not red, but tired. Like someone who'd been crying, but not just yesterday. For days. "Thanks for seeing me," she said quietly. I nodded, motioned toward the couch. She sat. I stayed standing. There was a long silence. Then she said it. "I know you hate me right now." That stopped me. Not because it wasn't true. I kind of did, but because I didn't expect her to start there. I crossed my arms. "I don't hate you. I just don't trust you. There's a difference." She nodded slowly, staring down at her manicured hands. "I messed up," she said. "Not just the wedding. Everything. For a long time." I didn't know what to say. She looked up at me, her voice a little shaky. "You've always been there for me, Jess. Always. And I took that for granted. I treated you like a backup dancer in my little show. And when you finally said enough, I didn't get it. I was humiliated. So I lashed out. I wasn't expecting her to be this direct. Or this real. But I didn't let my guard down just yet. "What changed?" I asked. Her eyes darted away. "The honeymoon." I frowned. "I thought you went to Greece." "We did. For 2 days." She gave a hollow laugh. "Then I came home. Alone." "Wait, what?" She looked up at me again. "Trevor cheated on me." My stomach dropped. "With?" She nodded. "Maya." I sat down across from her, stunned. "I found texts," she continued. "Pictures. And not just from the wedding weekend. It had been going on for months. I was too wrapped up in the planning to see it. Or maybe I just didn't want to." My head was spinning. I thought Kara had been exaggerating. But Carly was confirming it. Flat out. I didn't even know what to say. She kept talking, like she'd rehearsed it all in the mirror a dozen times. They booked a separate flight out of Santorini. I confronted Trevor in the hotel lobby, and he didn't even deny it. Just said he felt closer to Maya. That I was always too focused on myself. Her voice cracked on that last word. I came back early. Told Mom I needed space. She said I was being dramatic. That every marriage has bumps. I blinked. "Wait, Mom knew." Carly nodded. I told her everything. She still took his side. Said I should forgive and move forward. Like I was just supposed to roll with it. That made me angrier than anything else. Because of course she did. "I'm so sorry," Carly said. And this time, I believed she meant it. But I didn't let her off that easy. "You humiliated me," I said quietly. "You let Trevor make that toast. Didn't correct him when he called Maya your sister. You watched him erase me from the picture. And you smiled." She winced. "I know. You made me feel like I didn't matter." "I know," she said again. And I'm not asking you to forgive me right away. Or even ever. I needed to tell you I see it now. How awful I was. And I'm sorry. There was a long pause. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out something I didn't expect. A photo album. I made this for you, she said. It's not much, but it's us. All the moments I ignored or took for granted. I just wanted you to have it, in case you ever want to remember the good parts. I took it. My hands shook a little. Inside were pictures of us as kids, backyard birthday parties, Halloween costumes, trips to the beach. Photos I hadn't seen in years. Some of them I didn't even know existed. Carly stood up. I won't bother you again, she said. I just wanted to say all that face to face. Then she walked to the door, hesitated, and looked back. You were the only one who saw the cracks before I did, and I hated you for it. But now, I think you were the only one who ever really had my back. She left, and I sat there, holding that photo album, completely and totally gutted. I thought walking away from her wedding was the end of our story. But maybe it was the beginning of a new one. Or maybe not. Because 3 days later, Trevor messaged me, and what he sent changed everything. When I saw Trevor's name pop up in my DMs, I honestly thought it was a prank. After everything, after cheating on my sister, humiliating her on what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, and disappearing into the sunset with Maya, he had the gall to message me? At first, I didn't open it. I just stared at the little preview on my phone. Can we talk? That's all it said. I waited a full hour before giving in and opening the full message. Hey Jess, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I wanted to explain a few things. You can block me after this if you want, but I really hope you'll read it first. Against my better judgment, I kept reading. I messed up. I know that. But there's a lot more going on than Carly's telling people. And I think you deserve to know, since she made you the villain in all this. Okay, that got my attention. Part of me was screaming, do not engage. But the other part, the part that still needed closure, answers, something, typed back before I could stop myself. What do you mean by that? His reply came fast. Too fast. She told you I cheated, right? That's the story going around. Because what she didn't tell you is that she knew about Maya and me. Before the wedding. Weeks before. And she still went through with it. I sat up straighter. What are you talking about? I asked. He responded. She found texts on my phone a month before the wedding. Caught me texting Maya late at night, flirting, making plans to hang out without her. She confronted both of us. Screamed, cried, even threatened to call it all off. But then she said she couldn't afford the embarrassment. Said too many people had spent money, made travel plans, taken time off. Her parents had already paid deposits. She literally said, I don't care what's happening behind the scenes. We're finishing the performance. My stomach turned. This version of events didn't feel impossible. In fact, it sounded exactly like Carly. So concerned with appearances, so afraid of shame. She'd rather live a lie than admit the truth. Still, I wasn't ready to take Trevor at his word. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because she's already out there rewriting the narrative. Painting herself as the betrayed one. Making me the villain, and you the jealous sister who bailed out of spite. I'm not proud of what happened. But she's not innocent either. She chose image over honesty. And I think you should know that before you go playing the supportive sister again. I didn't respond right away. I felt nauseous. I thought Carly had finally come clean. That the emotional, raw version of her who showed up at my apartment with that photo album was the real Carly. But if what Trevor was saying was true, then her entire apology tour was just damage control. And suddenly, the pieces started clicking. Her oddly prepared apology. The way she blamed Trevor, but only after the wedding was over. The photo album, so carefully curated, like a prop in a redemption arc. I didn't want to believe it. But deep down, I'd spent enough years around Carly to know when I was being managed. And now I had a decision to make. Confront her, or walk away. I sat on that decision for 2 days. Didn't tell Lydia. Didn't mention Trevor's message to anyone. I just thought. Then on the 3rd day, I got another text. This time from Maya. Hey Jess, I know you probably hate me. I don't blame you. But can we talk? That was it. Short. Guilty. No explanations. I didn't even know how to respond. I hadn't heard from Maya in months. Not since she started acting like Carly's replacement sister and slowly inserted herself into every part of the wedding. Honestly, I used to like her. Back in the day, when When we were teenagers hanging out in Carly's room, watching rom-coms and eating popcorn out of salad bowls. Maya was goofy, creative, and a little awkward in a charming way. Then something changed. She got more attention from Carly, started mirroring her style, her laugh, her entire personality. And when Trevor entered the picture, it was like Maya turned into a shadow version of my sister. Same voice, same tastes, same obsession with control. And now she wanted to talk? I replied with, "Why now?" She didn't answer right away. Hours passed. Then finally, "Because you deserve to hear the truth. And I'm tired of keeping Carly's secrets." When someone says that, it's almost never good. I'll be honest, I almost didn't reply to Maya. Not because I didn't want answers. I did. But I didn't know if I could stomach hearing them from her. The girl who'd once been like a second little sister to me, and who then casually helped my real sister's fiancé blow up her entire marriage. But curiosity, and yeah, maybe a little bit of spite, won out. "Fine. Let's talk. Your place or mine?" She replied. "Neutral ground. There's a coffee shop on Sycamore and 5th for PM?" I agreed, threw on a hoodie and jeans, and tried to remind myself this wasn't about rekindling any old friendship. I wasn't here to forgive. I just wanted the truth, raw, unfiltered, and maybe ugly. The coffee shop was half empty when I got there. Maya was already sitting in the corner, a chamomile tea in front of her, no makeup, hair in a low bun. She looked exhausted, almost unrecognizable from the glossy bridesmaid version of herself I remembered. When I walked up, she stood awkwardly and gave a small wave, like we were old co-workers running into each other at the grocery store. "Hey," she said, barely meeting my eyes. I sat down, arms crossed. "So, let's hear it." She flinched a little at my tone. "Good. I don't even know where to start," she said. I stared at her. "Start with why you thought it was okay to hook up with your best friend's fiancé." She winced. "I didn't plan it." "That sounds like an excuse, I know, but it's true. It started small. Friendly texts. Late-night phone calls when Carly was too busy or too stressed to talk. I was helping with the wedding planning, and it just got complicated." I didn't say anything. She took a deep breath and kept going. "The thing is, Trevor told me stuff. About Carly. About their relationship. Said she didn't listen to him. That she controlled everything. That she only wanted to marry him to win at something." I snorted. "And you believed him?" She looked down. "I wanted to. I wanted to feel important. Like I mattered more than I did." Her voice was shaky. She wasn't crying, but she was close. "Don't get me wrong. I know I messed up. I know I hurt her. And I hurt you too. I made you feel like an outsider at your own sister's wedding. And I let her walk all over you because I thought that was the only way to stay close to her." I wasn't ready to forgive, but I could hear something genuine under her voice. Like she'd finally peeled the mask off. "What changed?" I asked. She hesitated. "The wedding day. Here we go again. I didn't know she knew about me and Trevor already," she said. "When she walked in on us in the bridal suite, I thought that was the first time. But she just looked at me and said, 'Don't ruin this for me, too.'" I blinked. "Wait, too." Maya looked up at me, and her face broke. "That's the part no one knows," she whispered. "The part she doesn't want anyone to know. You were never the first one she turned on." "What are you talking about?" Maya fidgeted with her cup. "You remember her friend Kelsey? The one who moved to New York after college?" "Yeah, they were inseparable. Then she ghosted. Carly said Kelsey got too toxic." Maya laughed bitterly. "Kelsey slept with Carly's ex. Just once. But Carly knew it. And instead of ending the friendship outright, she played along for months, gathering dirt on Kelsey. Screenshots, photos, voice memos. Then, one day, she blasted it all to Kelsey's boss, her family, everyone. Like she wanted to destroy her." I sat back, stunned. "She called it revenge," Maya said. "Said it was what she deserved. But really, I think Carly gets off on controlling the fallout." I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't, because it fit. It fit too well with every experience I'd had. Every time Carly cut someone off, it was never just a goodbye. It was a scorched earth campaign. "So what are you saying?" I asked. "That she's planning something now?" Maya nodded slowly. "She told me she's going to fix the story. That she'll make sure you take the fall for everything. For the failed wedding. For Trevor. For her public image. She doesn't care how. She just wants the narrative to go back to her being the wounded sister." I felt cold all over. "She's already started," Maya added. "Didn't you see the posts?" I had. The carefully curated captions. The not-so-subtle digs about fake support systems and family disappointments. Maya leaned in. I only came to you because I don't want to be part of it anymore. I let her use me. And now I feel like the next one on her hit list. She paused. She's planning to leak screenshots. Of you. Old texts. Messages you sent during the planning. She's going to edit them. Take things out of context. Make it look like you were sabotaging her wedding from the start. I felt like I'd been sucker punched. I couldn't even remember what I'd said in those texts. Months of venting, sarcastic jokes, late-night complaints, stuff I probably wouldn't want blasted across social media. She wants to bury you, Maya said. But if you want proof, real proof, I have it. I have recordings, messages, everything. I looked at her, completely floored. Why are you helping me? I asked. Maya gave me a sad smile. Because I thought I was becoming her. And that scared me. We exchanged numbers. She promised to send me everything. And then she left. I walked out of that coffee shop with one thing I didn't have before. Leverage. But also, one big, ugly question. If Carly was willing to fake a marriage, manipulate her friends, and rewrite the past just to protect her image, what else had she lied about? I didn't sleep that night. I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling, phone clutched in my hand, waiting for Maya's promised evidence to come through. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Carly's face, smiling at her bridal shower, crying on my couch, whispering behind champagne glasses with Maya and Trevor. I kept trying to figure out which version of her was real. Around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a Dropbox link from Maya. Inside were 17 files, screenshots, voice memos, even a few screen recordings of Instagram DMs. And when I say this stuff was bad, I mean it made my stomach turn. She wasn't exaggerating. Carly had been scheming for weeks before the wedding. I found texts where she told Maya, Jess is starting to get suspicious. I'll guilt her into staying. She's easy to manage if you give her the big sister guilt trip. In another message, she said, I don't even care what Trevor does anymore. I just need him to show up and smile. It's a performance, not a marriage. And then there was a voice memo, sent the morning after I walked out of the rehearsal dinner. Carly was venting to Maya. She ruined the vibe. My whole mood is off now. But you know what? Let her walk away. I'll tell everyone she's jealous. That she's bitter and couldn't stand seeing me happy. I'll get Mom on board. People eat that up. I paused the recording, heart pounding. This wasn't petty sibling drama. This was character assassination. And Carly wasn't just venting. She was plotting. I didn't know what to do first. Call her? Send the files to our mom and dad? Post them all online and let the world see? But I knew one thing. I needed backup. So I called my dad. It was almost 7 a.m. when I hit the dial. I half expected him to still be asleep, but he picked up on the second ring. Jess. Hey, I said, my voice hoarse. Sorry. I know it's early. You okay? I swallowed hard. Not really. I need to show you something. He was at my apartment in under an hour, still in his weekend sweats, coffee in hand. I could tell he hadn't shaved. His face was tired. Lined. I didn't say anything right away. Just opened the laptop and hit play on the voice memo. He listened in silence. Then another. Then a third. His hand gripped the edge of the table. He looked like someone had gut-punched him. This can't be real, he finally said. It is, I said quietly. I have screenshots too. She's been planning to smear me for months. And she knew Trevor was cheating. She went through with the wedding anyway. Lied to everyone. Even you. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling like it could explain all of this. I don't even know who she is anymore, he said. Dad, she tried to ruin me. She told people I was jealous. She made Mom believe I was bitter and dramatic. And she was going to edit texts to make it look like I sabotaged her wedding. Me. He nodded slowly, his jaw clenched. We need to talk to your mother. My stomach dropped. She's not going to listen. She has to. Spoiler. She didn't. We called a family meeting. Dad said he'd handle it, that it needed to be face-to-face. So that Sunday, we drove to my parents' house. Mom was already annoyed the moment we walked in. I don't know why we're dredging all this up again, she huffed. The wedding's over. Carly's heartbroken. Jessica, you should have been there for her. Dad just said, sit down. He pulled out the laptop, opened the folder Maya had sent, and let the files play. At first, Mom refused to look. Then she folded her arms. Then she finally snapped. This proves nothing. She was stressed. That was a hard time for all of us. She planned to smear your daughter, Dad said sharply. She lied to your face, and you ate it up. She was scared. She didn't want to lose face. And what about Jess? He shot back. You had no problem throwing her under the bus. You've always done that. It got quiet. I'd never seen my dad raise his voice to my mom before. Ever. Mom sat down slowly, like her legs couldn't hold her weight anymore. I thought Carly needed more help, she whispered. I finally spoke. You've been saying that since we were kids. And every time I asked for help, I got told to wait, to understand, to be the bigger person. Mom didn't look at me. She's your sister, she said quietly. No, I said, standing. She's someone who used me, who manipulated all of you. And unless she owns up to it publicly, I want nothing to do with her. Jess, I'm serious, I said. I'm not going to be her scapegoat anymore. I'm done playing the support role in Carly's fantasy. My dad stood beside me. She's right, he said. We should have seen it sooner. I walked out of the house, and this time, my dad walked with me. That night, I got a text from Carly. So you've been digging around with Maya. Classy. I didn't respond. 5 minutes later. Hope it was worth destroying what little family you had left. Still, I didn't respond. Because this time, I wasn't playing her game. But I had a feeling Carly wasn't done. She never was. And 2 days later, she proved me right by posting a full story on Facebook, complete with cherry-picked texts, fake tears, and a now-viral tagline. When your own sister betrays you on your wedding day. And this time, everyone saw it. Carly's Facebook post hit like a bomb. I didn't even see it right away. Lydia was the one who called me, her voice tight and urgent. Have you checked Facebook? She asked. No, why? She sighed. You're going to want to sit down. I was already sitting, curled up on my couch in sweatpants and a blanket. My stomach dropped as I opened the app. And there it was. A huge, emotionally manipulative post pinned to the top of Carly's profile, with a caption that began, "Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most. This is the story of how my sister abandoned me on my wedding day and tried to tear my marriage apart." She attached a smiling wedding photo, her in white, Trevor beaming at her side, sunlight behind them like something out of a fairy tale. Below the caption was a wall of text. Long, dramatic, filled with vague implications and outright lies. And I mean lies. She wrote that I'd ghosted her the night before her wedding, without explanation. That I'd been difficult throughout the planning, constantly criticizing her choices and making the bridal party uncomfortable. That I told her I hoped the wedding would fall apart. She even said that I flirted with Trevor at the engagement party and accused her of marrying for attention. She signed off with, "I've debated sharing this, but I've stayed silent long enough." To anyone who thinks I'm being dramatic, ask yourself how you'd feel if your own sister walked away from your wedding and tried to destroy your relationship behind your back. The post had already racked up over 600 likes and dozens of comments in the span of an hour. People I barely remembered from high school were chiming in with things like, "I'm so sorry, Carly. You didn't deserve that." Wow, some people just can't handle not being the center of attention. Family jealousy is real. You're so strong for speaking out. My blood ran cold. She wasn't just spinning the story. She was erasing the truth. Lydia messaged me again. "Want me to go nuclear for you?" "Because I will." But I told her no. Not yet. I needed to be smart. I needed to be precise. I spent the next few hours combing through the files Maya had given me, pulling the clearest, most damning pieces of evidence, screenshots, audio clips, and a few photos that made it crystal clear Carly had been planning this PR stunt from the beginning. And then, I called Kara. She didn't hesitate. "I saw the post. It's disgusting. If you need me to speak out, I will." I didn't expect that. Honestly, I figured most of Carly's bridesmaids would stay neutral. But Kara had nothing to lose. She'd been burned by Carly too. And she had screenshots of her own. Messages where Carly insulted the other bridesmaids behind their backs, mocked Trevor, and laughed about how easy it was to guilt Jess into staying in the bridal party. Within the hour, I had enough evidence to counter every single lie. But still, I hesitated, because part of me hated how public this was getting. I didn't want to be in a digital mud fight with my own sister. But she'd drawn the battle lines. And she was dragging my name through the dirt in front of hundreds of people. If I didn't respond now, I'd lose whatever credibility I had left. So I made a post of my own. No drama. No caps lock. Just calm, cold truth. Jess Reynolds. Hey everyone. Normally I'd never post something like this, But since Carly has chosen to publicly share a one-sided version of our relationship, I feel I need to clarify a few things. I did not abandon my sister's wedding without reason. I was verbally disrespected, emotionally manipulated, and publicly humiliated throughout the wedding planning process. I tried to remain supportive, but ultimately had to step away from my own mental health. As for her claim that I tried to ruin her marriage, I found out after the wedding that her husband had been having an affair with one of her bridesmaids. Carly knew. She chose to go through with it anyway. I have the proof. I didn't ruin anything. I simply refused to be part of a lie. Screenshots and audio recordings have been provided to family privately. If anyone has questions, I'm happy to speak with you directly. But I will not be engaging in a public back and forth with someone who's more interested in curating a victim narrative than healing actual relationships. I love my family, but I won't be a scapegoat. I didn't allow comments. Just left it up and logged off. The next morning, all hell broke loose. Kara posted her own message not long after mine, confirming everything. Then Maya, yes, Maya, posted screenshots of Carly's text from the wedding day. Let Jess walk. She doesn't matter. She'll come crawling back eventually like she always does. The reaction flipped fast. Carly's post was still live, but now the comments had turned. People were asking questions. Didn't Jess say she had receipts? I thought Trevor left with Maya after the honeymoon. Carly, why didn't you say anything before now? Some of Carly's original supporters deleted their comments. Others flat out apologized to me in DMs. A few mutual friends reached out saying they were so sorry for believing her. But Carly? She doubled down. She posted a second story, accusing me of launching a smear campaign and calling Maya and Kara jealous traitors. It didn't land the same way this time. People saw through it. The cracks were showing. And by the end of that week, she deleted both posts. The silence after that was deafening. No calls. No texts. No fake apologies. I didn't expect one. I didn't want one anymore. But then something happened I really didn't expect. Mom showed up at my apartment. Alone. No warning. No text. Just a knock on my door at 10:30 on a Wednesday night. I opened it, and there she was, eyes red, holding a bag of old family photo albums and a manila envelope. She looked hollow. I need to talk to you, she said. When I opened the door and saw my mom standing there, I felt 100 different things at once. Confused, angry, nervous, weirdly sad. She looked different. Smaller somehow, like someone had finally deflated her. Her hair was messy, like she hadn't run a brush through it all day. She wore a windbreaker over her pajamas and gripped a grocery store tote bag, like it was the only thing holding her upright. I didn't say anything at first, just stepped aside and let her in. She walked slowly toward the couch, sat down, and placed the bag and the envelope on the coffee table in front of her. I haven't slept in 3 days, she said quietly, without looking at me. I stayed standing. People have been calling me nonstop. Friends, cousins, even Aunt Valerie from Oregon, who I haven't heard from since 2006. I crossed my arms. Yeah, that's what happens when your daughter tries to ruin her sister on social media, and it backfires. She flinched. You think I didn't see this coming? I asked. You think I haven't been waiting for Carly to do something like this since we were teenagers? She finally looked at me. I didn't come to defend her. That caught me off guard. Then why are you here? She took a deep breath and opened the manila envelope, pulled out a thin stack of old letters, documents, and what looked like a few handwritten journal pages. I came to explain, she said. Not to make excuses. Just to give you the truth. Because I think you've deserved it for a long time. I sat down, but only because my knees felt shaky. She pulled out one of the letters and held it like it was made of glass. You know how Carly always needed more from us. More help. More attention. How we always said she was just high-strung. I nodded slowly. She wasn't just high-strung. When she was 12, we had her evaluated. She was diagnosed with borderline personality traits. Not the full disorder, not yet, but the signs were there. Emotional instability, obsessive attachments, impulse control issues. The psychiatrist warned us it could get worse if we didn't keep her environment managed. My mind reeled. I had no idea. Why didn't you ever tell me? Because we were told not to, she said. The doctor said if we labeled her too early, it could do more harm than good. That we should just keep her routines steady, give her space when she spiraled, and avoid triggering conflict. I blinked. So you just handled her with kid gloves. Forever. She nodded. And you? You were so stable, Jess. Always reading quietly. Always putting others first. We didn't mean to lean on you the way we did. But it was easier. Safer. I sat back, stunned. Do you even hear what you're saying? I asked. You sacrificed me so she wouldn't melt down. Her voice cracked. I know. I stood up again, pacing. Every time she insulted me, you told me to understand. Every time I was hurt, you said to be the bigger person. Do you know what that does to someone after 20 years? I do now, she whispered. And what about now? I asked. When she lied about me to hundreds of people online. When she almost destroyed my reputation just to get ahead of the story. She's not well, Mom said. After Trevor left, she spiraled. I didn't know how bad it was. She's not eating. She's barely left her room. She said she's not real anymore. That's what she told me yesterday. I paused. Something about that line hit different. She's seeing someone, Mom added. A new therapist. We're getting her real help this time. Not just band-aids. I sat back down slowly. I'm not asking you to forgive her, she said. I don't even know if I forgive her yet. But I had to come here and tell you the truth. Because you've been carrying this family's mess on your back since you were a kid. And it wasn't fair. None of it was. I stared at the letters in her lap. Why now? I asked. Why not tell me years ago? She hesitated. Then she reached into the bag and pulled out one of the photo albums she'd brought. Flipped it open to a photo of me, maybe 8 years old, standing in front of a birthday cake, while Carly cried in the background. I looked at this yesterday, she said, her eyes misting. And all I could think was, you didn't even look happy, even when the day was supposed to be yours. She looked up at me, and I realized I don't even know what a real smile from you looks like. Not one that's pretending, not one that's for our sake. That broke me. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I was too wrung out. But something inside me cracked. So what happens now? I asked. She shook her head slowly. That's up to you. I'll support whatever you decide. If you want to go no contact with her, I understand. If you want to talk again one day, I'll support that too. She handed me the envelope. Those are the evaluations. Journal entries. Letters from Carly's old therapists. I'm not giving them to you, so you'll feel bad. I just want you to know we weren't blind. Just scared. And stupid. She stood. I didn't stop her. I'm proud of you, she said. I should have said that more. Then she left. And I sat there, surrounded by pieces of my family's broken puzzle. For the first time, I didn't feel angry. I just felt tired. Because even with the truth finally out, I still didn't know if I could forgive Carly. But then, 3 days later, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. But I recognized the handwriting instantly. Carly. The letter arrived on a Thursday. No envelope. Just a single folded sheet of stationery tucked between the grocery store coupons and junk mail. I wouldn't have even noticed it if it hadn't fallen to the floor when I grabbed the rest of the mail. But as soon as I saw the handwriting, looped, a little slanted, unmistakably Carly, I just froze. I stood in the hallway for a long minute, keys still in my hand, staring at that folded paper like it might detonate. I didn't read it right away. I made tea, fed the cat, walked around my apartment in circles. I don't even know what I was waiting for. Maybe some voice in my head telling me I was finally ready. But eventually, I sat down at the kitchen table and unfolded the page. It started simply. Jess, I know I've probably used up every chance you were ever willing to give me. I don't blame you if you tear this up before finishing. But I'm writing anyway because for once in my life, I need to say everything without performing. No posts. No audience. No bridesmaids or wine nights or curated apologies. Just this. I kept reading. You were right to walk away. I see that now. Not just from the wedding, but from me. I've been horrible to you. I treated your loyalty like a resource, like something I could draw from any time I needed without ever giving anything back. And when you finally stood up for yourself, I didn't just get mad. I tried to punish you. The truth is, I've been terrified of being invisible my whole life. Of being left. So I made everything about me. I convinced myself that if I was the center of everything, I couldn't be forgotten. But in doing that, I pushed away the only person who ever actually saw me. I felt a lump forming in my throat. I lied. I manipulated. I turned people against you because it was easier than facing the shame of how much damage I'd done. I wanted to protect my image more than our relationship. That's not something a sister should ever have to say. But I'm saying it now. Because I want to get better. I'm in therapy. Not venting about my week. Therapy. Real therapy. weekly sessions, medication, accountability. My therapist made me list every person I've hurt, and your name was at the top. This isn't a plea for you to come back into my life. This is me accepting the possibility that you never will. But if you ever decide you want to talk, just talk. I'll be here. I won't push. I won't post about it. No more performative healing. Just two sisters trying to find their way back from something really broken. I love you, even if I didn't act like it. Always. Carly. I read it twice. Then a third time. I didn't cry. Not like I thought I would. But I felt something shift. I don't know what I expected from her. An excuse? A desperate attempt to save face? But what I got was honest, uneven, raw. And for the first time in a long time, it sounded like the real Carly, the girl I used to braid hair with on the floor of our shared bedroom. The one who used to sneak me candy after I got grounded. The one who hadn't shown up in years. I still don't know if I'll call her. I might. Not now. Not soon. But maybe someday. Because the thing is, I'm okay. I'm finally okay. For the first time in my life, I'm not just the peacekeeper. Not the background character. Not the supporting role in someone else's chaos. I'm the author of my own story. And even if Carly never finds her way back to me, I know I found myself in the end. That has to be enough. It is enough.